The Friday Review
with Jacinta Parsons and Brian Nankervis on ABC Radio Melbourne.
Good evening and welcome to Flinders Street Station. If you can feel the balmy humour there, if you can hear the golden tones in this voice, then you know you're on the best damn platform at the most busiest station in the Southern Hemisphere. You're on platform 4 and 5, Jekyll and Hyde. The train currently at platform 4 in the 6 p.m. Cravybird service. It's not hanging around forever. This train is here for a limited time only. Much like Virgin runs in your local warehouse, it is simply walking out the door. Please board this train as quickly as you possibly can because it wants to get out of here. If you don't find yourself a seat, you have my condolences, but I'm sure you have a sensational podcast that you've been dying to get back into all day. If you had a supervisor breathing down your neck all morning, I hope they call in sick on Monday. I hope you have a sensational weekend, whether you're watching Netflix or whether you're going to Reps on Chapman Street in Grand.
And there he is.
That is the voice. We are calling him the voice of Flinders Street Station. Flinders Street Station announcer Lawrence Hewson. He's joining the Painters and Dockers at Memo Theatre next week, Saturday, June the 1st. But he's right here now. Lawrence, how good did that sound? Okay, here's my question. Are they improvised? Are they rehearsed?
They're mainly improvised. That is just standing on a platform, taking in everything that's happening around me and just riffing off it. Everyone's on their phones. They're listening to podcasts. They're waiting for trains. It's just falling out as I see it.
It's brilliant.
We got Paulie Stewart with us as well. Paulie, Painters and Dockers, do we need to say more? You are doing gigs.
Yes, thank you. And we've got this legend coming along. And I've got to tell you, we walked here together and people were stopping Lawrence in the street, just mobbing him. I've never seen such a reaction in my life. The security guy downstairs is crying because he's got to finally meet Lawrence. It's made his year.
Lawrence, people are very aware of you down there. When was the shot to fame? Was it once there was a bit of press around your work? How long have you been mobbed in the streets?
Mobbed in the streets since late November. I think I just started, going off one morning at Flinders. People seem to be enjoying it. You feed off that energy. You keep going. And then my friends started sending me these links to a TikTok. I don't even have TikTok, but it lets you watch one video and then it says download the app. And my friends kept sending me this link and they're like, is this you? Is this you? Is this you? And then I open it up and it's me just going hellbelt for leather on the microphone. I went, yeah, that is me actually. Yeah. And then the media came in.
Wow.
So you just thought, well, there was one day, I'm assuming you'd spent a few weeks doing fairly standard announcements.
I'd love that you assume that. No, absolutely
so
not.
So right from the start.
We came out of 3 weeks of training at the Metro Academy. I got to the station. We did one sort of training afternoon and everyone got to read for 5 minutes and I was sitting there shaking like, give me the mic, just let me at it, watch this. And then they handed it to me and I just went into radio mode, MC mode. Good afternoon and welcome to Flinders Street. It just falls out of me. I mean, I've been fronting bands for 13 years.
Sort of your deal. Let's put that on the radio.
Yeah.
I could tell there's a patch and a badge.
A lot of practice. So, working crowds and sort of getting people up. And, Paulie knows this. You turn up to those shows and every now and then and the crowd's just not about it and there's no energy in the room. You got to walk in there and pump it up. And there's nothing harder than a crowd that have just stumbled out of work. You got to beat them into a frenzy, get them excited about going home. It's Friday afternoon.
I love, firstly, that you went to the Metro Academy. I did go to tram conductor school as well. So,
Wow.
Academies, when we think about them.
It's incredible.
I thought maybe with an institution they would say, put your personality away for a second. We need a job done. But they obviously haven't.
I think it took them by surprise. They didn't say don't do that. And, of course, in the absence of a rule, exploit the space. So I just went on it and then they seemed to enjoy it a lot. So I've had a lot of support by
So no one had a quiet word with you. After that initial week or so, show of off-the-wall announcements. No one with a uniform on just said, "Come on, pal, let's have a chat."
I haven't had it yet.
Isn't that
Even
great?
now, 6 months later, the CEO Raymond O'Flaherty came down to the platform, leaving one of the major infra projects the other day, and came and shook my hand and said, "He's still enjoying the job?" I'm like, "Of course I am." And then he jumped on a train and headed out of there. It's just.
And so it should be. You are spreading joy and levity and brightening up our lives.
This text, hi Jacinta and Brian. Well, it said Rochelle, but that's okay. Oh my gosh, Lawrence is the best. Makes my train travel enjoyable. More like him, please. That's Dizzy in Taylor's Lakes. Is the Metro Train Academy next door to the Ponds Institute? Dean wants to know. Is that a joke you know, Ponds Institute with the moisturiser? Oh, you're too young for this, Lawrence.
Too young.
Sorry, I'm only 35.
Yeah, that's right. No,
Okay.
you're too- and
So,
I don't know where
Paulie,
the Ponds product would fit anyway.
How has this come about that the train voice
Well,
of
I
Melbourne?
heard about this legendary guy, and everyone kept saying, "Oh, have you heard this guy at Flinders Street?" And I went, "Oh," and I thought, the Dockers, we got this old tune, "The Boy Lost His Jocks" on Flinders Street Station that we wrote. We were chosen to support John Cooper Clarke, the English punk poet, and we thought we'll write a song just for the night. We'll do it once, and it's just a throwaway muck around song. That was 30 years ago. If we don't do it every night now, I've been threatened with death if we don't do that song. And I walked up to Lawrence and I thought,
at
this
the
guy's
station?
going to, at the station. And I thought, this guy's going to think I'm this weird old chap. And I go, "Listen, mate, I happen to be in this band. Would you be interested in doing a song?" He goes, "What's the band?" And I said, "Oh, the Painters and Dockers." He goes, "Oh, the Dockers, no worries, mate, I'm in." So it's been a beautiful thing ever since. And we're so looking forward to him getting up and performing with us. And it's going to be lots of fun. So come on down, folks.
Come on down to, we are going to be at Memo
Yes, in St
on
Kilda.
Saturday, June 1st. What did you make of that? Paulie Stewart comes up and he goes, "Just from the Dockers, no big deal."
Very flamboyantly dressed gentleman that day. Came down, big broad-brimmed hat. And he was like, "Hey, are you Lawrence Hewson?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh," as he said, I'm in a little band called Painters and Dockers." I could have fallen to my feet and kissed the man's shoes right there and then, because the Painters and Dockers are an institution. There isn't an Australian band out there that don't look to Painters and Dockers as like, a great punk band that came from a generation of Australian bands like, Radio Birdman, and even sort of the more folky ones like Red Gum and Goanna. Like, it's just, bands my generation look at that generation and go, they paved the way. They carved out music for us so that we could do what we do. They built the scene into what it became, and now we're feeding off of that inspiration. So to have the singer of Painters and Dockers come down and approach me, a platform announcer at Flinders Station, was an utter honour.
Lawrence, we should let people know that you are in a band. Jacinta mentioned it earlier, The Sordid Ordeal, terrific name. Where are you playing? Can people come and see you?
Our next show is on, it's King's Birthday Eve on Sunday, June 9 at the Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar across the road from the Vic Market. So,
And how would you describe your music?
Jacinta, you like the Drones, don't you?
Yes.
A little bit like the Drones.
Okay.
Like it's loud and it's distorted and it's rocky, but a bit folky, a bit poetic, Very Australiana. So
Have your crowds...
Irish Rebel song.
yeah, he's doing a couple of Irish Rebel songs for King's birthday specifically.
Goodness me, I'm very excited about this. Has your crowd grown since...
100%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we had an album launch in February, and we've never played a sold out show before, and we played a sold out show that night, playing with other Celtic punk bands like the Currency and the Ramshackle Arm. We had a cracking night that night. Yeah, I love the
So
Currency.
cool that you guys have teamed up. Like, I'm a happy Melburnian to know that these two rascals are in each other's company. Lots of texts for you, Lawrence, coming through. Love the commentary. Do you travel around? Would be great to have him come to Shepparton train station for the limited train service we have. That's Jen from Shep. Someone else is saying the same thing. Brooke in Geelong says, heartbroken to live in Geelong and not getting the joy of Lawrence on my commute. However, do enjoy the V-Line Lux. Lol, swings and roundabouts.
Kirsty says, Lawrence used to live with a friend of mine, Janelle. Such a presence, awesome human being. They both are, Kirsty. Look, what we should do is hear that particular song. But before we do, I did suggest to Lawrence that he might like to just rehearse maybe a verse or two as a spoken word piece, and then we might slide into that song. What do you think, Lawrence?
I reckon let's give it a crack. Paulie's going to coach me through this, but I think I might have quite nailed it.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
I will just say that I have never done it the same lyrics twice in a row ever. So don't.
I feel so much more comfortable
You can't muck
knowing
it
that.
up. You can't muck it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He walked down platform 3 with a school cap on his head, a runny nose, and a cut on his knee. He took a drag from a ciggy and flicked it away, and he looked at a seagull and said, "Why don't you fly off, you feathered bird-like creature?" 2 Vietnamese girls noticed this and laughed till they cried, but he didn't care. His mind was on footy, cricket, and a 4 and 20 pie.
Yes.
That is
Lawrence
just
Better than I have ever
a
done it.
joy.
Lawrence.
Paulie Stewart,
yeah.
they'll be together at the Memo Theatre on Saturday, June the 1st. We better hear it, I reckon.
This is going back.